Boy, this
He
is going
needs
to
to
take
move to the top lane.
Going to have to be quick. Going to have to be quick.
Almirola up to cover. Dillon, where will
Dillon's
he go?
going to get there.
Oh, into Almirola. Around he goes.
Good.
Okay, well, that happened. Hello and welcome to the show. As always, I'm William Crossland, and we got the Can-Am Duels 1 and 2, but that seems to not be the most important thing anymore, as we also had the Daytona 500. So in the first Can-Am Duel, your winner was Ryan Blaney. The guys who wrecked out of that race were William Byron, Jimmie Johnson, and Aric Almirola. Now moving on to the Can-Am Duel number 2. I didn't really get to see this one as much because I was doing my sideline reporting job for the women's basketball team here at my college. I didn't really get to see anything but the end, and I did hear that Chase Elliott won. Overall, with the two duels, I was just happy to see Chase Elliott and Ryan Blaney, two of my favorite drivers, get some critical spots up front. Now, after seeing Tyler Reddick edge out Elliott Sadler in the Xfinity race in the last lap of the Power Shares QQQ 300, the Xfinity race at Daytona, I could tell it's going to be really close, tight three-wide racing coming Sunday, and we're going to have another photo finish as this new Aero package seems to always deliver. So Peyton Manning was the pace car driver, which was kind of weird because the pole sitter was Alex Bowman, whose sponsor is Nationwide, and Peyton Manning is a spokesman for Nationwide Insurance. Coincidence? Oh, I think not. Boogity, 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 we got into stage 1. And the winner of stage 1 was the guy who won it all last year in the final lap, Kurt Busch. So Denny Hamlin went just a little out of his pit box when he was pitting in stage 1 in those first rounds of pit stops, and his fueler went ahead and started fueling him while he was out of the box. Now, NASCAR penalized him for that, and he had to serve a penalty in his pit stall before he was able to return out on the track, so that cost him a little bit there in the beginning. The end of stage 1, as we see in these restrictor plate stage racing ends, we get all the wrecks. And because everybody's fighting, because they know you'll get those points, you'll get the 10 points if you win a stage, and so on, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. So those who were unfortunate enough to get involved in the Stage 1 wrecks were Daniel Suarez, Jimmie Johnson, Ty Dillon, and Erik Jones. Jimmie Johnson's really just had a tough break at Speed Weeks, wrecking out in the Clash, wrecking out in the Duel, and then wrecking out in the 500. Really not the way you want to start out your season. Also, tough luck for Daniel Suarez. He had the Fox in-car camera, and they were able to get really good sounds of that crash at the end of stage 1.
Jones did not. Come on. Jones, his teammate Suarez, William Byron, Jimmie Johnson are all in it along with Ty Dillon.
There were many times throughout this race that guys got loose and they surprisingly were able to recover, like Ricky Stenhouse Jr. getting a little loose and then coming back. And then in stage 2, William Byron got a little more damage whenever he was scraping the wall. And here's where it got really choppy. 19 laps to go. Chase Elliott gets bumped by Brad Keselowski, as you see on your screen. It was a hard impact. Chase Elliott hit the wall so hard. I was very scared seeing that. I did not like that crash at all. We should not be having those kinds of crashes just because of the end, getting near the end of a stage. It was really devastating. I'm glad that Chase was okay, because that looked very similar to Dale Earnhardt's crash into the wall that went head on, where all the speed just stopped after hitting the wall, and he took out Danica Patrick in her final ride in NASCAR. And so it was lap 102 of the race. I really think Danica had a car where she was able to at least finish the race. Might have ended up with a top 20 if she could have avoided all the wrecks. But it's just too much carnage. But yeah, Danica was not able to finish the race. She was out at lap 102, along with Casey Kane in the 95. And surprisingly enough, the end of stage 2 was actually clean, with Ryan Blaney coming out with the win of that stage. Now, stage 3 had some really easygoing laps with a really just straightforward single file racing, with Ryan Blaney dominating about 105 laps of leading. That sounds about right. But man, he was just, once he got in front, he didn't look back. And all the guys behind him, they were smart because they're thinking, well, I'm not going to risk trying to move. I'm going to stay right where I am and get myself to the end of this race and then make your move. At this point, I really thought that Ryan Blaney had the win in the bag, but of course it's Daytona, so we've got to have those wrecks at the end. And then here comes William Byron with an already damaged car spinning as they came out of turn 4 into the front stretch, and that brought out the caution, boiled down some laps, and then they went back to green flag racing. And then Kurt Busch has an incident, getting too close with everybody else, and Kurt Busch got nudged by Ryan Blaney, and that was really the big one. It took out a lot of struggling teams that were having a really impressive run on Sunday, like Matt DiBenedetto in the 32, Chris Buescher in the 37, both having strong runs, staying in the top 10. It was a shame that they had to wreck out, and teams like that, that's probably going to set them back more than the bigger teams. That wreck also took out the pole sitter Alex Bowman and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. So once again, like many other years, we find ourselves in the green-white checkered situation where we got to go into overtime. The Daytona 500 is never really 500 miles when we have those overtime laps. So it started to get dark, and then, well, you know what happened.
Dillon, where will he go?
Get there.
Oh, into Almirola. Around he goes. With the number 3, 20 years ago. 20 years of trying for Earnhardt. He won the Daytona 500. Austin Dillon wins the 60th running of the Great American Race.
Do I agree that Almirola deserved this? No. Do I agree that Austin Dillon made the right move? Yes, he did. Because that's all he could do. Really, the competitors should not be put in those situations on restrictor plate tracks to where, like, if you're in second and the only way for you to win the Daytona 500 is to turn the guy in front of you. And so after Austin Dillon turned Eric Almirola, he went through 3 and 4 and won the 60th annual Daytona 500. So 20 years after after Dale Earnhardt's win at Daytona, the number 3 returns to victory lane. Austin Dillon was 7 years old whenever he took the picture next to Dale Earnhardt in victory lane in 1998, and he was pointing to the sky looking like, I'm going to be there one day. And a fan gave Austin Dillon a lucky penny that he put in his car, and the same thing happened to Dale Earnhardt in 1998. He also put a lucky penny in his car and won the race. It just all seems too picture perfect, doesn't it? I don't know. It's just me thinking. I really wish I didn't think like this. Like, I don't want NASCAR to be a Demolition Derby, WrestleMania, WWE kind of thing, because it's not. It's an actual sport. As if you've seen any David Land videos that he's put out in the past day or so, he expands on this so much. The rules that have been added to plate racing, like you can't pass under the double yellow line, and the stage is being applied to plate racing, have made it to where if you're in Austin Dillon's place, being in second and having that guy in front of you and you've got more speed, you really have no choice in that situation but to wreck him. And that really shouldn't be the way that they have to do it. Like, I would have been happy if Austin Dillon was able to pass Eric Almirola cleanly and win the race. And because whenever he won and he was sliding through the grass and all that, and he said, "This one's for Dale," I couldn't help but shake my head, because I felt like, would Dale really appreciate that? Like, you just turned a guy. I know that's what Dale did in 1995 at Bristol on Terry Labonte, but I think this is a different kind of rubbing. Rubbing may be racing, but turning people is not racing. And if this was some kind of NASCAR narrative to have the 3 come back to victory lane 20 years later, then I find it kind of funny. I saw some memes of that I also put on Twitter of Austin Dillon on the backstretch behind Eric Almirola. And then you hear Brian France's voice in Austin Dillon's ear saying, "Turn him. Do it now." But I would like to end this video on a positive. I picked Bubba Wallace to win the Daytona 500. He finished second. I'm going to take that as a win. I think that was hard to come by. And Bubba Wallace just really showed what he could do at Daytona. I know it's a played track and you don't really see drivers' talent until they go to other tracks, but keep an eye on Bubba Wallace. I was already a fan of his, so I'm not a bandwagon. He's going to do some great things, and he's got that real... We haven't had a good character driver in NASCAR in a while, and I think Bubba is one of those very unique characters. Here's hoping that Chase Elliott will have a better luck on Sunday at Atlanta. That's going to do it for this video. So what did you guys think of the Daytona 500? Let me know in the comments below. Give this video a like, and if you want to keep up with me throughout the season, go ahead and subscribe. I will have a vlog from Atlanta Motor Speedway this coming Sunday, and then the full race review after that. So until next time, I'm William Crossland. Thanks for listening.